If you're wondering what this face is, this is my internal primal scream. Hello, YouTube. How are you doing? It's me, Miss J, North Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. And here I am in the lovely Champagne Dreams Productions home office, also known as the Mama Champagne Rose Room, also known as the Wonder Woman Memorial Museum. Hello, how are we doing tonight? I don't know if anybody will pop on. This will probably be a quick one. I just need to rant and rave and rage a little bit because so if you have been following my like regular videos, like my edited videos, my filmed videos journey, I have been trying to work out a way where I can film by myself. Usually when I use my like actual camera, I have a Canon, some kind of power shot that I've had for years. So basically the whole time I've had the channel. And usually Angie and I have filming days together, and she will run the camera and I do the on-screen talent, which is lovely, except that it means we have to coordinate our schedules, and it is fun. It's hangout time. It's good time with the bestie. Like it's not that I don't ever want to film with Angie, but when we film, I like to try to get a lot done, because if we try to film like a Get Ratchet with me, those take forever to film. The makeup takes so long. My face takes a long time anyway, so when I have to also like try to like break it up into segments and we have to keep track of the time, and then sometimes we start chatting. And so I was like, well, if I could find a way so that I could film the makeup by myself, then when we get together, we could just knock out videos, right? Because I do a lot of pre-filming when I do get to filming. I try to anyway. And so I've been trying to film through Riverside. So Riverside is this software, online platform, online studio thing. It was developed for like video podcasters. And I got to know it through work. And so I was like, I think I should maybe look into that. And so I filmed through there, and with this webcam, which was my like webcam that just to try it out, I like used my webcam that I use for work, because when I film in Riverside for work, I use that camera on my laptop because so it probably doesn't matter, and it doesn't really matter to the rant, but I like to over explain things. And so basically, like in my office, I have my like office space in one corner, which is where I do my big kid job, and I've got my work laptop and my screens and all of that, and that's where I do my video editing for work. And then on the opposite side of the room, I have my YouTube. It's like my makeup table. So I've got my my table where all my makeup is, and there's makeup on the sides, and there's the shelves. The backdrop, the wood backdrop, is behind that table. So I'm sitting at that table when you see the wood backdrop in my lives or in a video. And so I've got my laptop set up there, and so I put the camera on there because then I can log into Riverside for work from that laptop as well. And so then that way, if I'm recording myself for a video for work, if I do it from my work laptop, I either have to move the laptop. Hello, Grace, how's it going? Which means that I have to like move it across the room, and I have to disconnect from the screens, and then it messes up the desktop and everything goes onto the laptop. Because I store a lot of like files and stuff on my desktop, and it's just a mess. And so I just like log in through Riverside, and I use my laptop, and then I just go over to and log in from my work computer to get the footage when I'm doing stuff for work. So so I decided, as a pre-Black Friday thing, like the week before Thanksgiving, they were having some sales on stuff. And I knew I was going to try not to shop from Amazon during the blackout. So I was like, well, let's take a look beforehand, because there were some deals popping up, and I did want to update some of my equipment. So I found this webcam that said that it was 4K, which I don't necessarily believe, but because it was like $50, like it was not expensive. And so 4K, I was like, that feels like a stretch. But I was like, maybe it'll still be better or whatever. Because the camera that I had for work, that one is, all the footage that I get through Riverside is 720. Like the resolution is 720. And my like camera, the settings that we have, it's 1080. So like the next step up or whatever. So I thought, even if it gets me 1080, that'll be much better. And I do feel like the resolution on the lives has been a lot better. So when I go live through YouTube on that webcam, I do feel like the footage looks better. Now, I just went to preview to see how it was, and I feel like the sound is a little bit better, but the microphones on that are still not great, so I need to still try to figure out some sort of external mic solution. I was trying to use this like Yeti mic that I had, and it just was not good. And so I don't know if I don't have the placement right or whatever it was. So I've just been using. And so I bought the new webcam, and then I bought these new lights. So I used to have these big bag lights, and everything was getting blown out. So everything was like, my face was blown out, the makeup was blown out, like everything, because I don't have enough room to move, and those lights didn't adjust at all. So like they were right up at my table. I could move one of them a little bit more, but the other one was in this place where if it was going to be pointed at me, it had very little room to move. And so it was too close and it was too bright. And so everything was getting blown out. So I bought these little, like, they're on like a tripod, but they're like a little LED pad, like it's a little rectangle pad. And that's what I've been using now. And it's a little bit too soft. And I think in my last live, I think probably my live on Dion's channel, I was kind of noting that it was a little too dark. Like I had to kind of squint, or maybe it's in the video I'm editing now. I haven't gotten to it yet or whatever. Excuse me. I'm also super fucking froggy and it's driving me crazy. Pretty girl. So I got these new lights or whatever, and they're not quite bright enough, but at least things are not being super blown out or whatever. So I've been doing lives, and the lives I felt like have been looking good. When I went back and listened to them, I was like, the audio is maybe a little bit better, but it's still not great. So tonight, the reason for this rant is that, and then I also bought a ring light. Sorry, quick aside. So I bought the two side lights, and then I also bought a ring light, and that ring light turned on once and flashed. And so I need to, that's another thing I'm going to put, I'm going to take a Post-it note and I'm going to remind myself to email that damn ring light seller after this, because I keep forgetting. Because it just flashed, like it'll flash once if you hit the little remote and then doesn't turn on, doesn't do anything. And then sometimes it doesn't even flash. So it just like sits there. So that was another like $29-30. I forget exactly what I spent on that, but I was trying to do little upgrades, right? Like I'm trying to get the channel to be better or whatever. And so like I'm doing this work and I've been trying to like struggle through it, and I was struggling with that webcam, and I was so excited to get the new webcam. And it was supposed to have two mics, and it's supposed to be like, it talked it up like it was supposed to be better. The sound, I think objectively is worse than the last webcam. And then, so I sit down to edit tonight, and this is the first time I've edited footage. Yeah, it's tough to know, Grace, right? Like it's hard to know, like when you're updating equipment, like I'm not super techie. So like trying to find it, but like a mic, because that's one thing that I heard when I was, so before I started YouTube, I did a podcast for a while, and I was doing a lot of research on like podcasts, and I was like, should I do YouTube? Should I do a podcast? And the article I found that had really good information, what they said is they said, if you really just want to do video, just do video. If you really just want to do a podcast, do a podcast. And of course, this is now quite a few years ago, because now podcasts are almost all video podcasts anyway. So this was back in the day when podcasts were still mostly in audio format. And what they said is that if you honestly want to do both, you should do a podcast first, because that will teach you about the sound. Because what the research shows is that people will stick with questionable visuals if the audio is good longer than they will with great visuals but poor audio sound. And so I'm always sort of cognizant of that in the back of my mind whenever I'm listening to these and the audio is bad. And I try to put a disclaimer at the beginning and say, I'm sorry, I promise you I'm working on this, but the audio is going to be a little bit garbage. And now I just noticed that this new video that I'm editing, the sound is terrible, and the footage is 720p, which is what that last webcam was giving me. So I don't know my understanding of Riverside, because how Riverside works. And the reason why we got it is because we record people all over the world. We record people, I will log in and record somebody from India. I'll record somebody from China, from Japan, wherever we have offices. If somebody's on a project, we'll just set up time in their time zone and record with them. And so internet can be and a lot of people are still working from home. There's a lot of people now working in offices. Sometimes in offices, there's like Wi-Fi dead zones. Working from home, the internet can get a little questionable wherever they're at and all that kind of stuff. So what's great about Riverside is that I like it. I really like it, except now this wrinkle that I'm getting to about this video. I like it because what it does is it records people. So if you're doing like an interview, you don't have to worry if the Wi-Fi is kind of sketchy, because what Riverside does is it records them on their machine using their camera. So like my camera that's up here, it would use the best quality that my camera will give, the best audio, and it sends it to the cloud. So it records you locally. So even if the Wi-Fi is kind of going in and out, the recording is happening locally on your machine. And then it sends it to the cloud. So sometimes if there's bad Wi-Fi, all it means is that it takes longer for it to upload. But the quality should be better. And that's what I've always seen or whatever. Well, now I'm wondering, because the lives through YouTube have looked really good, but the footage that I downloaded from Riverside is all 720. And so I'm like, I feel like this footage looks just as bad as the last webcam, and the audio is objectively a little bit worse. So I was like, so now I guess, it'll be hopefully a little bit better if I can find another microphone, if I can hook up a microphone, but I'm just so frustrated because, and I haven't done like a video in like 2 weeks. And so I was like, you need to get a video out. And it's so frustrating to keep running into these problems and like wanting to make good content and wanting to like grow my channel and do all of these things and trying to make these investments in equipment. And then I do it, and then it just is like, it just all falls apart. So I'm just frustrated. I'm in a frustrated editing place because and I was excited because I did a show this weekend. I had a drag show this weekend. I did a live here on my channel where we took off the makeup. But I filmed a video where I recorded the makeup, and that's what I'm editing. And it's holiday themed, so it needs to come out soon. And it was using the Danessa Myricks, the Lightworks palettes, and it just is not going to be good quality. It's just not going to be good quality. Hey, Dion, how's it going? Yeah, Riverside to do live new makeup release on Fridays. Yeah. Yeah, I really do like Riverside. I do like it. Yeah, so it's been a lot of work. It's been a little bit wild, and just trying to just work through all these things. And then like, I don't know what I'm looking for, right? And then I'm the idiot who gets pulled into, like, I knew it wouldn't probably be like a true 4K camera, because it was on sale for $50 or whatever. So it was originally like 80 or 90, but I feel like 4K, maybe there's, again, I don't keep up with the technology that much. Hey, Joe, how's it going? Maybe there's like more to it than, like, I thought 4K was like the big deal, was still like the top of the line. Maybe not, because I know 4K has been around for a while. So there's probably something bigger than that. But like for a long time, the 4K cameras were the ones that were like thousands of dollars. So when I saw a 4K webcam on sale for $50, I was like, that's sus. And so I didn't expect it to be fully 4K, but I was like, it's got to be better than the one that I have, right? It has to be. It's 100% not, at least through Riverside. Because again, the lives, and I'm not on it now, obviously, because I'm at home, so I'm using whatever. But this camera that's built into this computer, so like this is one of those, like this is a desktop, and the camera is built in, and I feel like this camera is better than that 4K camera. Yeah, I was gonna say there has to be something something beyond 4K. But at some point, are we just gonna be 3D? Like what? I don't know. I don't get it. Like this constant like need to be more and more higher resolution, and I just am frustrated. I'm frustrated with the technology. I want to do more filmed videos. I've been trying to like carve out this last like month and a half, because I struggled starting in like the summer. This year with my job has been a little bit crazy, and it's still a little bit crazy. And so like starting in November, this has been like the time of the season of like setting boundaries, where I'm like, sometimes I just have to stop. Like I just have to stop. I can't keep working and working and working and working. And I'm like, if shit's late, it's late. I don't know how to do, because I run into things where, like, when we open a project, we set timelines. And then what happens is that sometimes I work for a big company, things get delayed, things get moved. I understand that. That's perfect. Except that when things get delayed and they get moved forward. And now they're at the same point as other things that were already scheduled there. So am I supposed to bump the people who were on time that were originally scheduled here? Or do I bump this stuff that was late and is now even later, but now it's bumped later onto other stuff that was like, and then sometimes then other things will get late. Like, it's crazy. That's not my forte is like project management. Like that's not my strong suit. I do it and I'm fine or whatever, but that's trying to like puzzle piece these things together and like Tetris my schedule into something that makes sense. Is like, it's not what my brain does naturally, so it's always a little bit of a stress. Clipchamp now exports in 4K for free. Ooh, months ago they were charging for it. Interesting. Yeah, use InShot for shorts because it exports. Ooh, I'll have to look. Are those apps? I do try to remember to like record TikTok, so there's no reason why I shouldn't be doing shorts and things. For some reason, I just hate them. I just hate shorts so much. I will sometimes watch them, but I just don't enjoy them. I think I just enjoy TikTok a little bit. And even that, I'm so random on TikTok. Sometimes I'll really keep up with it, and sometimes I kind of let it go. But I like it because I can just put on a song that I like and like lip sync to it for a little bit. And so that's why, like, and so I don't think I could even like export my TikToks because it automatically gives you a version on your phone. So like I could post that to Instagram or because they're usually really short. They're usually a few seconds to 30 seconds or whatever, but it's all copyrighted music. So like, especially YouTube, I know is really like goes hard on like some of that if you're not using their stuff. And so like TikTok, because I'm on TikTok, it's the stuff that's like approved for TikTok. But then when you move it to another platform, I think sometimes it can get a little wonky. So I'm like, yeah, everybody's going for the short. I know everything goes in cycles. And I just am praying for the day that people decide to have longer attention spans again. I don't get it. Because it's so weird. They either want TikTok where everything is like super short, or on YouTube, they want like hour-long videos. They want videos to be like super long. And I'm just like, what? What? Like, you can't do the 15, 20, 25-minute videos anymore? Like, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, you just got done with Stranger Things. Joe, what did you think of it? Yeah, like 20 to 30 minutes for me is the sweet spot. And my content gets kind of longer and longer all the time. I remember when 20 minutes felt like a long video. And now like 20, if I get it down to 20 minutes, it's like an achievement. But I haven't done episode 4 yet of Stranger Things. I don't love it. Is that sacrilege? Are like the Netflix police going to come in a white van and take me away and you'll never see me again? I'm not liking it. I don't know what it is. And like, I know some of the things about it that I don't like. I left my ringer on. Let me turn that off. Okay. I think part of it is that, I mean, I know that it's just kind of the way that things are going, because I also don't like Welcome to Derry very much. And I think what it is that now that they're doing everything like so short, such short seasons. Because like Stranger Things is going to be what, 7 episodes, 8 episodes? Because we get 4 now. We got 4 at Thanksgiving. We'll get a couple more at Christmas, and then the finale is on New Year's. And I think it's only a total of 7 or 8. And so these little 7 or 8 episode series, the problem is they need to squish so much into it that you can't let anything breathe. You can't let anything develop. I mean, that's why like shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer were so good because you had this overarching story. You always had the big bad of the season or whatever, but then you also got to have little standalone episodes and little standalone moments. And some of the best episodes of TV happened because they had that format where they could take an episode. If people watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you've seen The Body, one of the best episodes of television I have ever seen. That episode could not exist in an 8-episode season. It could not. Absolutely could not. It's so good. It's so emotional. It's so well done. And it couldn't exist in this format now where they're doing 8, 10, maybe 13 episodes. You just don't have the time. You have to progress story so fast, so fast, so fast. It's just like, it's so frustrating. And also, I mean, part of this, because now everything has to be like movie quality and it's only 8 episodes, it takes so long. I mean, those 30-year-old accountants that are walking around pretending to be middle schoolers, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? These people are full-grown adults. They are full-grown adults still pretending to be middle schoolers. I think now they've kind of like just tried to ignore the fact they're trying to be like, oh no, they're high schoolers. And it's like, no, they were middle schoolers and you're acting like this is like the next year. So what's happening? What's going on? Oh yeah, I'll have to watch it. I was excited that we got a little bit of Max at the very end of episode 3. So I was like, okay, because I love Max as a character. And so I'm excited for her to have more of her. You've seen them all and don't remember any of it. Yeah, I felt like I should go back and rewatch some of it, but I do remember some of it. Like I remember a fair amount, but there's enough that I could review. 20 to 45 minutes, unless it's a declutter. Absolutely. I do love a long declutter. That's one thing. It's hard to make the time for it because when they're long like that, those I like to watch because sometimes if something is long, but it's like a commentary video, I'll put it on in the background and then I can just listen to it while I'm doing other things. And that's fantastic. I love that. And even like a makeup look, I can put it on and listen to it. And as long as I have it somewhere, because sometimes I'll like put it into like you can divide your screen into like corners or whatever. I'll put it in the corner. And then as people are talking through it, I can just like look up and be like, oh, cool. That's why I'm terrible about leaving comments because usually I'm doing like 5 different things and I'll just have like makeup looks playing in the upper corner. And I'll just from time to time be like, that's cute. Nice. Lovely. So just know that I'm leaving comments in the air, even if I forget to go and leave them for real. I know I'm the worst. I'm the worst because I'm also a YouTuber, and so I know that you should be leaving comments and things. I'm the worst. Oh, yeah, it's just too much. Yeah. Yeah, I wish that that's the thing is I was going to wait until they were all released, but the problem is that even if you try to avoid spoilers, every single news outlet then they're trying to get the clicks, baby. They're trying to get that money. So then they start putting out their think pieces and like some of them will try to like redact stuff and they'll just put like spoiler in the titles and like take a name out or whatever. But they still give you enough information that you can kind of guess what happened. And sometimes some of those sites don't even give a shit and they'll just put like spoilers right in the title. So I'm like, I guess I should try to watch this, but I'm just like, ugh. Yeah, I like when there's a whole season that I can just watch the whole thing. I love it. Love a good declutter. Yep. Yeah, and so that's the thing is like as a YouTuber, I know like you want them to leave comments, you want them to thumbs up and do all that kind of stuff. But also like I have sympathy for people who please thumbs up the live while you're here. But I have sympathy for people because I know what it is to like have it as just like there, like it's a part of your. It's very rare. Like Sunday is kind of my like fancy. It feels like my fancy YouTube day because that's the day that I sit on the couch. And even then, like leaving comments doesn't really happen because I'm on the couch watching on my like TV. And unless I want to also have my like phone open and try to leave comments or if I remember to circle back. But Sunday is like appointment YouTube because Jen Love's makeup show, What's Up in Makeup, comes out. And Novimpia, this drag queen couple from the UK that I love, they always have a video on Sunday. And so like Sunday is like where I feel like I'm a fancy YouTube watcher because I just dedicate time to watching the news show, watching Novimpia, and then I get up and do whatever my day is going to be. So, yeah, should have done that. But episode 4 has my heart pumping. I need to watch it. I'm excited. I figured they would do some sort of like action-packed episode because it was going to be sort of a cliffhanger until the Christmas episodes and all that. Yeah. Yeah, and I like lives. I like watching lives and having them, even if they're kind of in the background. And ooh, Grace has a declutter video. I'm excited about that. I love a good declutter. I love them. I don't like filming them. That's the other thing, is like sometimes the things that I like to watch are not the things I like to film. And so like lives have been great for declutters because then I can just do them if I want to. And if I don't want to, and then I don't have to edit them, because editing a declutter, I did a declutter series. I think I have a playlist still on my channel, because one time I tried to do like a declutter series and I filmed it and edited it. Oh, talk about drive myself up the wall. Oh my God, it drove me crazy. It drove me so crazy. Oh, yeah. I watch a lot on my TV, and for it to go back and leave a comment, absolutely. Yes, we're excited for Grace's declutters. Yeah, that would be interesting. I've enjoyed declutters more because I think when I was filming, I felt more pressure to try to do like a whole category. And as you've probably guessed from any time I've been doing like a declutter or even just any of my lives or like a makeup look, I'm super disorganized. Like, it's my curse that like organization is not something that comes easily to me. And yet my low level OCD commands me to try to organize. And so like, it's just every space that I'm in is always a nightmare. Cause like you can see around me, right? Like I like things and like, I like clutter, like not clutter, but like I like having things to look at, and I like spaces to be visually interesting. And I'm always putting things together and moving things around. And so trying to be organized, especially with makeup where there's a lot of it. It's so I felt the need to like, if I'm going to do a video, okay, I have to get through all of my eyeshadow palettes. If I'm going to do a video, I have to get through all my complexion products. I have to do all my lips. And I feel like with a live, I don't know, I just feel like I have more freedom to be like, let's take out a drawer and see what happens. Like, let's take out another drawer and just take out drawers until I'm sick of taking out drawers. Like, that's what's been great about the lives. And if people are still there and I can be like, are we still into a declutter? Do we want to stay here? Do we want to go? And people will be like, yeah, or they'll be like, I got to go for tonight or whatever. And so then I can be like, oh, if everybody's dropping, we'll do declutter later. And if people are still down for it, we just keep decluttering. And so I think that's kind of the future of declutters on my channel. And I was decluttering sometimes on Facebook. Facebook Live these lives are new for me, but like going live isn't necessarily new because I used to go live on Facebook all the time. And so now that they've kind of given up on, they don't give a shit about lives anymore and promoting them or even letting people watch that. It's so stupid. I'm just like, well, it's time to transfer to YouTube. It's time to get it over there. But yeah, that's a good idea, Grace. I hadn't thought of that, of like when you're doing a declutter, you can like be brainstorming ideas for videos. I like that. The space looks organized because you can see literally just this. There is behind this, why can't I figure out directions? So behind this bookshelf, there's another little shelf, and there's little bins, and the bins just have stuff thrown into it. There's 2 computers like on the floor next to that shelf because anytime I get a different computer, I don't know what to do with the old one, and I can't just throw it away. And I feel like, oh, I have files on there, I have to get them. So like an insane person, I just have like old computers. It's weird living in my head sometimes. I filmed a major declutter and had to trash the whole thing. Oh, I could never get it to look right. That's the worst. And that's how I'm feeling about editing this video right now, is like this Danessa Myricks. We don't scrap looks. I understand that. And we don't scrap videos or whatever, but I'm like, this video is going to look like shit. And I'm so frustrated about it because I was so excited about this new camera and these new lights or whatever. and like the sound is not great and the visuals are just as bad as except now I'm like squinting at the mirror because I can't even see. So like some of the visuals might look a little bit better, but it's like also then I have to edit around me trying to like look at my face. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that I do have some low level OCD, and that's for real. I get it. Like I know that it presents very differently for a lot of people. My friend that I visit in Bismarck, she has OCD, and hers is very like germ focused, and so I get like there's a lot of that. But and it's one of those things where I am absolutely self-diagnosed. And I will say this, this is such a weird tangent, but I will say this because as a cranky Gen Xer, like I feel like sometimes people, I understand all the arguments about how, because of insurance and our health system and everything, and especially for mental health, like getting a diagnosis can be expensive. There are lots of things that prohibit people from getting. So I think self-diagnosis, if you're really researching and looking into it, not like watching a TikTok, but like if you are really researching into like the behaviors and things and what constitutes it and what doesn't, and looking into the criteria and all that kind of stuff, I think self-diagnosis is absolutely legitimate. But I also think that like self-diagnosis has to have a point, because I feel like I've seen a lot of people who, this is coming from my own experience, but I feel like there have been a lot of people who self-diagnose, and then it just becomes, well, work around me. I have this thing. I have done research. I am self-diagnosed. And it's like, oh, no. My sweet summer child. I saw this meme that really resonated with me, and it said, your triggers are your responsibility. It's not the world's job to tiptoe around you. And maybe it's the gritty, dark, latchkey kid Gen X version of myself that like, I wasn't really a latchkey kid. I mean, I lived in a rural town. There were no keys. So, but like, there's part of me that's a little like, suck it up, buttercup. Like the reason I did all this research and the reason why I came to this diagnosis is because then I looked into like, how do they treat OCD? Because then I could start to like figure out, okay, like what kind of therapies do they use and how does that work? And it helped me start to like work through the OCD behaviors. And so I'm like, oh, so this has a purpose. Like, it's not just about saying, oh, I have this thing. Everybody be wary. And so it's like, it's frustrating to me. But so, yeah, so I am self-diagnosed with like low level OCD. And as a kid, there was a time where as I look back now, I was like, it could have gotten scary, because I had one thing with certain types of the way that OCD can present is counting behaviors. And so if you've seen like, what's that video with Kevin Kline and Helen Hunt and Jack Nicholson as the old guy with OCD? As Good as It Gets. Like the counting behaviors, where sometimes like people have to like turn a light switch up and down so many times, or they have to, do like turn a doorknob and whatever, a different kind of counting behaviors. I had these like counting behaviors when I was a kid that became really obsessive for me, because my favorite number is 8. And so when I was walking, I couldn't step on cracks on concrete. Like I had to avoid the cracks anyway. And I either had to be able to get on like from one piece of concrete to the next in only one step, or if it was more than one step, I had to do it in an even number. My right leg was always the odd numbers, and then my left leg was always the even. So I would count the number of steps. So like if a long piece of concrete was 3 steps, I would have to stand in place and do the 4th step. And then I could continue and do the next one. Like that kind of shit. And like it got really bad where like I was really sort of like I was getting distressed about not being able to like walk. Like I would have to walk so weird to get through the stuff. And I finally, like at some point, I don't know what it was, but something kicked in and was like, you have to stop. Like you have to stop this. I don't know what it was. There is a little, I always say there's no adults steering this ship. There is like a little rational voice in my brain that like when things get extreme, it like kicks in and is like, bitch, get yourself together. Like just do it. And something happened and it worked out. So luckily the counting behaviors stopped and were under control. But like I would have to, like if I went to get crackers, I would have to have 8 crackers. And then if I still wanted another cracker, I couldn't just have another cracker. I had to have 8 more. Like I had to have things in like groups of 8. And yeah. Yeah, I love to do Declutters Live. Hello, Don. Hello. Catching up on the chat. Yeah, it's organized chaos. Well, this is the most organized. So I'm in a process of like also decluttering and rearranging and like working through my house. And this is the room that's the furthest along. Like, because I was like, when my mom was coming to visit, I had bought the bed and I was like, I have to get the bed put in and I have to, do it. So I was like, so this one is the best. So the rest of the house, maybe someday I'll do a house tour if I get it all put together, because I have lots of cute little fun things and I've got all my crystals, and so maybe at some point we'll do that, but it'll be a little while. A voiceover could be fun. I don't like voiceover videos. I've never tried to make one. I don't like watching them very often. I don't mind it sometimes with makeup application, where if somebody's talking about it, because that I get, and this would be a makeup application video. So I'm like talking myself out of it and into it at the same time. This is how my brain works. As I have to puzzle through it, but maybe a voiceover. If it's really bad as I'm going through, I might do it. Yeah. Oh, I should take some pictures for you of the office, because the office is crazy. Yeah, OCD is a bitch, man. Like, it's the worst. Like, and those counting behaviors, I wish you luck with that, Joe, because and if they're mild, and you have it under control, then that's very good. That, as a kid, that really, I mean, it got to a point where even like as a child who had no like real understanding of things, I was like, this is not good. This is not good. Like, this is not normal. Like, I looked around and nobody else was doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was definitely, I think it got to a point where it was going to be like heading towards a severe path. And it was the 80s. I had never heard anybody talk about OCD at any point. Like, people didn't talk about anything with mental health. They didn't talk about even like more common things like depression, or like, it was the 80s. You just knuckled through. And so I'm very glad that it's settled a bit. I do, but that's something, just now thinking about it, that is kind of interesting, because in a way I still have kind of accounting behavior, because anytime I like am in a place, like, so at my office, I'm on the 2nd floor and I usually park in back and take the elevator up, but the mailboxes are on the front side of the building. So I will usually go down and then I count the number of steps as I'm going, but I don't have to be like on a certain foot or whatever. And anytime I'm in a place where I know I'm going to be going up and down steps a regular amount of time, I always count the number of steps and I try to remember. And that's more because I'm also kind of klutzy. And so I like to know how many steps there are, because I can't even tell you how many times I have like misjudged and thought I was at the bottom and I was one stair up, and have like pitched forward, because so now like that's my counting behavior. But it's not like the OCD ones that I had as a kid. It's very much of like, I just count the steps so that I'm aware spatially. And if it's a new place, it helps me be aware of the space. So I make sure I'm on the that I'm not going to fall down the stairs. Oh, yeah. Self-diagnosis, I think, is absolutely, diagnosed. Several of my family members have it. I'm thankful yours is mild. Poor nephew has it. Yeah, very scary visuals. And that was, I thought, so I'm also a soap opera fan, and Young and the Restless did a storyline where one of the kids on the soap opera had OCD, and they actually did little, like, every once in a while when shows like, it reminds me of the 80s when they had the very special episodes, because there were a few times where the people who played the kid and his parents, like at the end of an episode, would say, if you or someone you know is struggling with their mental health, here are some resources to like educate people about OCD, because some of the ways that in the storyline and all of this stuff, it sounds like I had read an article that said that they researched some of the ways that OCD can present for this story. And yeah, it was tough. Your clinical hat slipped on, no problem. We end up talking about all kinds of shit in these lives. So I understand it happens. We've all got a lot going on. Yeah, voiceovers feel like extra work because, again, I get nervous and I get anxious about making sure it lines up correctly. And so, yeah, I don't know, but I should experiment with that sometime, especially if I have something with a really, really bad voiceover or really bad audio. Thing for the number 3 in odd numbers. Yep. Oh, which one? This one or this one? I have an inner arm on both sides. Voiceovers either, not sure why. Same for me, Joe. It seems just, yeah, there's something about it. It feels, I don't know why, because it's usually the person who's in the video who's doing their own voiceover. But sometimes I feel it's like voyeuristic. It's like we're sitting there watching. I'm like, and of course we come to YouTube and we're sitting there watching people, but it feels more connected when like you're talking to a camera, like I'm talking to you. And so like we're having this conversation. I look down at the chat. This feels more engaged and it's like, I know you're there. There's something about a voiceover that's like, ooh, I'm watching them and they don't know I'm here. Like, I don't know what that is, but yeah. So yeah, let me tell you about, so here is, this one is kind of an old one. This is one Mama Champagne said that I got in a barn. It wasn't quite in a barn. I was at a Pride Fest that was at a campground, and there was a tattoo guy that set up in the, there was like a concession stand. So this one is my right arm, and then this one is my left arm. Because I think it's reversed. Because yeah, if this is my right arm. Oh, so you saw this one. So we'll get to that one too, because this one has a better story. So this one, I just went because I'd seen some flash in Winnipeg that was a pink triangle, but it looked like a cut gem. And obviously I love gems and jewelry and all that kind of stuff. And so I wanted a pink triangle like that. And I described it and it never quite came out right. And he put a lot of purple in it, which I didn't get. And so eventually I did take it to another tattoo artist and he cleaned it up a little bit, but it's still, I don't love it. And then I love stars. So he put stars all around it. They've kind of faded, but they were like a rainbow. And I like that they were little Mario stars. They're kind of the little chubby, they look kind of like Mario stars. And so originally it was just those. That's what I got from the one guy. And then when I went to get this cleaned up, I felt like I had built a little platform here. And so I was like, well, I want something to go on top. And so I got the word glamorous. And the reason why is because the 12th commandment is above all things glamour. And so I was like, glamorous, that seemed to fit. And I was like, I like that. I think glamorous is an attribute that I can aspire to. And if you don't know what the 11th commandment is, that's my favorite. The 11th commandment is, thou shalt not suffer alone nor quietly. And that I saw that on a wood sign when I worked out in Medora, which is this North Dakota tourist trap. And I laughed so hard when I saw that. And so that's always been my 11th commandment. Thou shalt not suffer alone nor quietly. I took it to a new yeah, I just was like, that guy, he did an okay job, but he did not give me what I wanted. And so I still at some point think I might cover this with something. I thought about getting like a blue rose. And so I've always liked blue roses and, you know, when they're dyed blue or whatever. And one time my grandmother, I gave her for Christmas, I'd found this like blown glass crystally, it was like a rose and it was blue and had glitter. And then it was this like glass, very delicate. And since she has passed, I now have it in my house. And so I thought about getting a blue rose, like a vintage style tattoo of a blue rose to kind of cover this up. But for now, I leave it. Then we have this one. So this one is my, when I turned 40, I was a little bit of a stereotype and I had a little bit of a little mentee bee, as the kids say now. We had a little bit of a breakdown. And so I was traveling a lot. My old job, like I've worked for the same company for like 12 and a half years. And for quite a few of those, for like 6 years or so, I was a trainer. And I would travel a lot to other sites to do training at these other sites. So primarily Seattle and Phoenix were the two main places where we had, because like our team, we were like the North America training team. And so our sites were Grand Forks, where I was, Seattle, Phoenix, and Costa Rica. And so at first, when Arizona opened, we didn't have any trainers there, and we only had one trainer in Seattle, and then we had 2 and eventually 3 trainers in Grand Forks. So depending on how many associates you needed to train, sometimes we had to go to other sites, because you might have, like, Seattle only has 1 trainer. They might have 2 classes going at the same time. So we would have to kind of swap around. And I traveled a lot because I was single. I loved it. They had my ass till 5:30, and then I was out on the town in Seattle, going to theater, eating at good restaurants. Like, I loved it. So I was all about it. But I was traveling a lot, and it got to be a lot sometimes. There were times where I would take a little break and I would be like, you can't schedule me to travel for a little while. I need to be home. And when I turned 40, I had this little bit of a breakdown, and I had been traveling a lot, and I was super stressed out. And I think the thing that really kicked it off is I went to see Lady Bird. If you've seen that movie, it's got Laurie Metcalf and Saoirse Ronan. Is that her last name? But it was really good, but it was also sad, and like it was this like mother-daughter relationship that was, and it reminded me of like Mama Champagne and I are fabulous now. We're doing really good. We've had some difficult times. I mean, after I came out, it was like 20 some years ago, so times were different, and like we had some rough times to go through and to like figure out and all that kind of stuff. And it reminded me of some of those like rougher times when I was younger. And the movie theater was like 3 blocks from my hotel, and I'm walking back to the hotel, and I don't know what it is, but I think it started to sprinkle a little bit. I know, in Seattle, rain, groundbreaking. Like shouldn't have expected that there would be a little sprinkle or whatever. And I just started ugly crying. If you want to become invisible in a city, you should cry on a street downtown, and people will immediately like blinders on, like keep moving. The crazy's happening over there. Just keep going. And so I just like, there was this building that didn't have anything in it, but there were posters in the doorway. So I just like ducked into the doorway so that I could like cry a little bit and then like get myself together. And that kicked off this whole thing, and it was weird. I may someday do a whole video about it, because there was multiple steps. There was a porn star involved. There was a weird sloppy makeout session at a bear bar. Girl on the verge. And so it all kind of ended like after my birthday. I went to this tattoo shop that was like a block and a half away from my hotel in Seattle. Is the hotel that I always stayed at. And every time I would go up the hill and like walk back down, I would walk past it, and it looked really cool, and the people inside looked very cool. And so I got this, and I'm going to check up on the chat. I know I'm a little bit behind, but I get so distracted. I want to make sure I get through this. And so what I decided to do was, for a while, it was really big to have those. And I think it might still be a thing, but I remember seeing it posted a lot on Facebook that if you have had issues in the past with like self-harm or, suicidal ideation, things like that, not to get real dark or whatever, but people who have experienced that would get a semicolon tattooed. And sometimes it would just be a semicolon, or it'd be a semicolon in amongst things or whatever. And so as I was like coming out of this like crazy, I was like, I want to get a semicolon tattoo, but I didn't want to just get the semicolon. So what I decided to do was I got a matchstick where the head of it is a semicolon. And so they kind of worked a semicolon into the top of the match, and there's a little flame. And then the words behind it are from a Lori McKenna song. And it says, "You could burn down this town if they made matches from fears." And he even looked it up. I don't know if he knew the song or if he just thought it sounded weird, because he like Googled it. And apparently the original lyric is, "You could burn down this town if they made matches from fear," singular. But I had always heard it in my head as fears, if they made matches from fears. And I just felt like I had all these like fears and all of these things that were like pressing in on me. And I was like, but this is like my survivor tattoo. This is my like, you could burn down this town if they made matches from fears, but I'm still burning, right? Like, so I just thought this would really, and so I got this a day or two after my birthday. My birthday was during the week, so I couldn't get in on my birthday, but it was like my birthday tattoo. And I just had this like crazy minty bee, and so I was like, this is how we'll end it all up, with this fabulous tattoo. So that's the tattoo. Yeah, let me catch up on, let me see. I also just now remembered to switch it to live chat instead of, so I hope I didn't miss anything. I was going to do a quick thing, and then I realized there's a lot of chat, so I'm sorry. If I missed anybody, I'm really sorry. Middle of Tennessee, and my tattoo artist now lives in Michigan. I'm thinking of flying there to get the rest of my... Yeah, I had a guy that was the main... the guy who fixed this one up, and I had one on my leg, but it's kind of disappeared. It's a weird thing where I've had some issues in my legs, and so like I've had like weird stuff with the skin and like skin infections, and so it's basically like faded all the way away. But he did this beautiful like rainbow platform shoe, and it said Janessa. I love words. So many of my tattoos have words, and so it's a Janessa, and so I went to him and got that fixed up, and I adored him. And then he just was like not at that studio anymore, and I was like, so I feel like I've never had like my tattoo artist again. My first one I got up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and it's this Playboy bunny. And I don't know, I was so like young and freshly gay, and I thought a Playboy bunny tattoo would be amazing. And so I went to get it, and he talked me into doing this like chrome effect, because I just wanted a solid color, like pink Playboy bunny. So gay, so gay. And he was like, why don't we do a chrome effect? And he drew it out, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then he tattooed it. And at first I hated it because I was like, there's hardly any pink here. I was like, I wanted it to be pink. And there is like pink shadowing like underneath the black or whatever. Now I love it. It took me a while to come around to it, because then I saw some people with like solid color Playboy, and that on a body, like tattooed, it gets a little rough around the edges sometimes, and it just doesn't look good. And so, oh, I love it. I just love it so much. And then, yeah, so I think I have 5, because I have the 2 arm tattoos. I have this one. I have the one that kind of faded away. And then on the back of one of my legs, this is funny. When Mama Champagne watches this, I've made fun of her for this more than once. But when I was getting married, so once I got engaged, I was at another Pride event, and there was a tattoo artist that had set up shop. And so on a whim, I was like, we were going to do, at the reception, we had these like centerpieces where I made, it was this craft I had seen where you glue together like glass and crystal, like goblets and little things, and you make candlesticks out of them. And so you glue like 3 of them together, and then you have a candle in the top. And we put little like fake gems, and we had peacock feathers. And so, which peacock feathers traditionally have been considered bad luck. Spoiler alert, didn't work out. But because of, in Greek mythology, the goddess Hera would appear as a peacock, and she was using the peacock eyes to like look for Zeus, because he was always out raping women. And she was mad about it and would punish the women. Not like that hasn't gone away. Rape culture. But and so I was like, I'm gonna get a heart with 2 peacock feathers. How cute will that be? And so on the back of this leg, I've got 2 peacock feathers making a heart. And then when I got divorced, and one time Mama Champagne and I were talking on the phone, and I said, well, now, because she doesn't like tattoos. So preface this with, this didn't come out of nowhere. My mom just doesn't like tattoos. So every time my brother or I get a tattoo and we tell her about it, she's like, oh, why would you do that, Ross? So whatever. And so we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I said, now that I'm divorced, I'm going to have to get a divorce tattoo. I was like, I've got my little peacock feather heart. I was like, now I have to get a divorce tattoo. And without skipping a beat, Mama Champagne, she's like, what are you going to get? One sad little lonely peacock feather all by itself? And I was like, burn, David. Like, what? And then she's like, sorry. She's like, you know I don't like tattoos. And I should say that like Mama Champagne and I kind of joke like that all the time. So it was not mean-spirited at all, because sometimes people are like, what? And so yeah, Mama Champagne, she's funny, but that was her reaction. And actually I thought about getting a lone sad little peacock feather, but I thought about getting it on this arm, and then maybe like covering up part of this tattoo, and having like a peacock feather that comes up with like stars and swirls and things around it. But I have not gotten a divorce tattoo, and it's been like 15 years. So I don't know if that is in the cards, but we shall see if there's still a divorce tattoo in my. So let's see. So scared to go. Yeah, Joe is scared to go to somebody new. I get that because it's permanent. Except I've been kind of a whore with my body where I'll just have anybody tattoo it. And yeah, a lot of people follow their artists. That's a thing. I wish I knew who this was. It was just at some random shop, and I was young, and I didn't think to like figure out like who the guy was, because this was so good. This is my favorite of my tattoos, but this because of the story. But I do really love this one. Artist is a friend. The discount he gives, it wouldn't be a lot of monetary difference just to go. Yeah, I mean, if he's giving you a discount and it works out for the travel. I get it. I get when people have like an artist that they really love, because sometimes you like this one, and that's the thing is like, even though I know it's permanent or whatever, I'm like, oh, I don't love this one anymore, but it's the memory and stuff. But I get why people follow an artist. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, my semicolon matchstick tattoo. The Mummers, Lorena McKenna. Yes, I do like Lorena McKenna as well. So this is from Lori McKenna. They have very similar sounding names, but yeah. So, but I also like Lorena. I also like, oh God, Lorena McKenna. I don't know why that's so hard to say. Your mom doesn't like tattoos either. She actually doesn't know I have 5 of them. Oh, she'd still whoop your ass. Yeah, I worked my mom into it. I started by like starting to dye my hair fun colors. And so then she'd be like, why are you doing that? And of course, things have loosened up. And now and now Mama Champagne, I don't know if you've noticed when she's been on camera, she usually has a little swipe of color in her hair as well. And so, yeah, so she's gotten over the hair dye. I think she's softened on the tattoos a little bit too, but not enough that she's going to get one. Oh, Joe, your mom sounds tough. Yeah. Nicest, sweetest person, but doesn't play around. Yeah, Don. Yeah, I do like Lorena McKenna, and that's what people always are like, oh, the Mummers dance. And I'm like, no, Lori McKenna, she's really good, and she's written a lot of like really popular songs for other people. So if you've heard, like, Tim McGraw did that song Humble and Kind. If you're a country fan, it's very like country folky. So if you've heard, hello, Allison. Hello, Retro Toy Princess. We love to see you. So if you know that song, Humble and Kind, that Tim McGraw did, that's a Lori McKenna song. So she wrote that first. And then she has recorded it as well. But then she also like sold the rights and he recorded it. She did a song. I don't know. Faith Hill had a song that she did. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, she's got... There's a couple, the albums that I really like are Bitter Town. If you want to get into Lori McKenna, I would check out the album Bitter Town. And then there's the Something and the Rifle. Is it the Songbird and the Rifle? Some kind of bird. The Bird and the Rifle, the Songbird and the Rifle. But those are the 2 albums that I really like the most. Bitter Town and the Whatever Kind of Bird and the Rifle. That song, the one that's the title, the Sparrow in the Right, I have to look it up now because it's gonna drive me crazy. Lori McKenna and the Rifle. Luckily, Google some. Oh, it is just the Bird and the Rifle. Okay. Yeah, so basically it's the story of this like dysfunctional couple where the guy is really controlling, and I think it suggests that he's kind of abusive. And so she's the bird and he's the rifle. And then, because he's always threatening and he's always like controlling. And then at some point, like the end of the song is like the windows open and the bird flew away and never came back. Like it's really beautiful. And there's some really fun. And she sometimes does kind of sassy songs. She has this song called Old Men, Young Women, which is really, really good. Oh, Joe, I'm glad. Yeah, this has helped me too, because this started off as a rant because I'm trying to edit a video and I'm so frustrated with it. And I was just at the point of like getting ready to just like angry cry. And then I was like, I'm just going to come on and complain a little bit. And then Grace got on first and we just kind of chatted a little bit and talked about stuff. And then people started slowly coming on and it lifted my mood. So I'm glad that helped you as well, Joe. Because yeah, that's what I love about our little community that we have here. And that we have over on the Crazy Troll Nation. Of course, I recognize that most of the people here also like probably found me through Dion's channel. And that's really where, I found this like really wonderful little community. And I'm so glad that so many of you have like also come over here and hang out with me when I go live and stuff, because it's like when it's frustrating, I could just sit here and stew by myself, or I could come online and chat with people and just like, let it go. It's all fine. I'm just doing free videos on the internet. This isn't my job. This isn't like nobody's gonna die. Like I always think I forget where it comes from. There was some show or something where anytime somebody complained about something, there was this character that was like, but did you die though? And that's how I feel, is that like sometimes as I like talk myself down, it's like, but did you die though? So that's what I love about this, is that we get together and we get to just chat and hang out, and you get to see my fabulous Wonder Woman Funko Pop collection. Some of it's hidden behind me. I can't figure out which way to go. There we go. Yeah, I'm a big Wonder Woman fan. I love Wonder Woman. And so there's also like action figures, and you can see a couple of the pictures here, and then there's action figures above, which are mostly Wonder Woman. There's some other kind of stuff up there too, but yeah, I like it. And I like my little feed me, see more. All right, but I should probably go because I do have to watch Days before I go to bed and then go back to the office again tomorrow. And I have to be in a little bit earlier because I have somebody that I have to meet with who is in Ireland, I think. And she's like, I think she's 6 hours ahead of me. So if I get there at like 10, that's like the end of her day. So we usually try to connect about that. That's what I enjoy about her, is that sometimes people, I've talked about this a little bit before, is that I am not a morning person. And so if you are in North America, like if you are in the North America band and you try to schedule a meeting with me before 10 a.m., you are declined. Because like I understand that sometimes for India, or if it's somebody in Barcelona, I sometimes have to come in a little bit early. I'm here for that. I understand, it's the job. If you're in North America and you think I'm going to come in before 10 a.m. just to have a meeting with you, you are high on your own supply. Like, it is not happening. It is not happening. I do love our lives. I love it. This is the best little community, the Crazy Troll Nation and the Hooker Clowns, the Champagne Fam, whatever we call ourselves. This is the best little community. I love it. I love it. All right, I should probably get going, so let's see if I can remember my outro. Replay crew, you rock. Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Circle back. We would love to have you help feed the algorithm. Feed me, Seymour. And while you are down there, don't forget to give me that thumbs up to tell me you appreciated the live, you enjoyed hanging out, being part of our fabulous little community. Or if you're a hater, you know what? You can give me that thumbs down. It doesn't hurt my heart at all, and it helps the algorithm. The algorithm isn't a piggy bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, become part of the fam. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you'll be notified every time I do an upload, including this jank upload that I'm working on now that started this whole rant. You'll get notified when that comes out. I try really hard to have at least one video a week. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, equipment failurific. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, just pretend it's there, The World of Champagne at JanessaJ.com, where you can still order calendars. I've got a few left. We're in single digits. I don't have very many. They're going out soon, Dion, so you'll get yours very, very soon. Every time you hit the bell notification, Moby Sharts his pants. I love that. So if you still need a Janessa calendar, they are still available. It still says pre-order just because I haven't edited the post, but they are in hand. We are in single digits, and they usually sell out every year. So once they're gone, they're gone. So if you want to head out, I'm going to get them mailed out so that you'll have them. Knock on glass. This is a glass top desk. Before January 1st. That's my goal. And you might even get them before Christmas because I'm going to be making a trip to the post office soon. Yeah. So, yeah, I love and appreciate all of you. And until I see you again, bye. I know the awkward end of the stream. Okay, bye.